give us an update on what's been happening over the last day.
Yeah, pretty much the same situation that we've seen over the last 6 months, only the date has changed. Now 2020 with no end in sight to the dissatisfaction on the streets on the part of the protesters, and no change from the government's stance. The protesters say the government's been fairly intransigent towards their demands, not giving in. Carrie Lam has said she wants to see in 2020 a restoration of social order and harmony, but anything but that last night, as represented by the graffiti and the damage, the vandalism that we did see late into the night as that march went from Victoria Park to Central here. The CHRF, the organizers, say it was upwards of 1 million people. The police say 60,000, quite a discrepancy, but still probably a number somewhere between that. Not everyone, I must say, are turning to vandalism and violence, but the hardcore did, and they turned their vengeance on two icons of Hong Kong, the two HSBC lions that are outside the headquarters here at 1 Queens Road Central. This one here, my namesake, Stephen, and the other one over here, Stit. These lions cast in bronze 85 years ago, and they've seen worse, I might say, but they've been painted in red spray paint and black spray paint with Chinese graffiti that basically says HSBC has been dyed red by China. The other lion has the characters Hong Sek or Hong Se in Mandarin, which basically says the color red. And again, the protesters are angry at HSBC basically closing down the account of Spark Alliance, which was an organization which raised funds for the more than 6,000 protesters who have been arrested, largely to pay for their legal fees. HSBC in a statement says the actions here with the lions in front of HSBC is unjustified. They say the account was closed at the behest of the client. Police, keep in mind, 2 weeks ago froze the accounts of Spark Alliance, and that's why the hardcore elements of the protests have turned their ire onto HSBC. But as I said, these lions, they're iconic for Hong Kong. It's a tourist attraction, but also the local people have a strong affinity towards these lions. They're considered to have great feng shui, good luck for money flows here in Hong Kong. They've also seen worse, I might add. There's shrapnel marks in Stephen here from the 1941 Japanese invasion of Hong Kong. They were actually uprooted and taken by the Japanese Imperial Army to Japan to be melted down in Japan. Fortunately, the war ended and American soldiers found them, returned them to Hong Kong. They've gone through a lot. I know they're inanimate objects, but they've gone through a lot. So right now they're covered in black and red spray paint. A woman came up to me, a local Hong Kong resident, said, "This is terrible. This is terrible. This is worse than if foreign invaders came into Hong Kong." So there's a strong emotional feeling and pull for these lions here in Hong Kong.
Steve, in the meantime, we've had China's President Xi Jinping using his New Year's Eve address to defend China's system for running Hong Kong. Let's have a listen to what he had to say.
The situation in Hong Kong has been everybody's concern over the past few months. Without a harmonious and stable environment, how can there be a home where people can live and work happily? We sincerely hope for the best for Hong Kong and Hong Kong's compatriots. A prosperous and stable Hong Kong is the aspiration of Hong Kong's compatriots, as well as the expectation of the people of the motherland.
All right, an aspiration for prosperity and stability. How is the Hong Kong government going to achieve this in 2020?
That's the big question, and that's why there is a palpable sense of frustration on the part of many of the protesters, and not just the hardcore element, the other people who showed up and marched who want some answers and some plans from the local government. Keep in mind, Carrie Lam, the embattled chief executive, in her New Year's resolution address said her resolution is to restore social order and harmony. But that's an end result. That is not a plan. So that's why there is frustration on the part of many people here. There are many people here in Hong Kong who do not support the violence, do not support the vandalism of iconic structures or symbols like these lions here in front of HSBC, but they are frustrated with the inaction from the government.